Taylor, speaking of communism, a Chinese economist disappeared. Well, that's weird.
Yeah,
I've never heard that type of thing happen there.
I think there's a common story here when it comes to communism and don't believe your own eyes, right? And so top economist in China vanishes after he is speaking out against the economy of not saying such positive things about China, right? So several people within China have now vanished from the internet when it comes to economists and journalists for recent weeks, raising concerns that Beijing is stepping up its censorship efforts as it tries to put a positive spin on struggling economy. And so what does this really mean, obviously, right? When you look at China, for years they've been saying how they're going to start dominating the economic when it comes to the field across different countries. They show these buildings that they've built that are vacant and are now falling down. And what they were sharing in one of the people who are they disappeared, is that Beijing Normal University showing that some of 964 million Chinese people, representing roughly 70% of the population, were living on a monthly income less than 2,000 won, equivalent to about $280 a month.
Wow.
And so it's saying how drastically poor the China population is, right? And they went to go say a new era of China, saying that they're opening up the economy, it's becoming more prosperous, but nothing has really changed. And this is what the economists and they were saying since Mao Zedong, when 60 to 80 million people died underneath the communist regime at that time. Not much has changed, although they want you not to believe your own eyes, and what they say is that they're doing better. They want the public to believe that. And if you say anything differently, obviously they're penalizing that. And so for you guys, we're hearing a lot of, capitalism doesn't work, right? And in our economy, they're saying capitalism doesn't work, but if anything has changed in the U.S. economy, it's that it's become more and more communist and socialist because it's been more and more run by the government, less from the individual. So with everything going on from what we're seeing in China, from what we're seeing today, what are the steps that we have to do to cut through the noise, cut through the propaganda? Because we're also being censored. We see people like Trump. Obviously, they're trying to indict him. They're trying to put him in jail when they speak of the negative. And during the debate, they asked Kamala Harris about the growing when it comes to the cost of groceries. And she goes, well, I grew up in a middle-class family.
That's her go-to.
They do everything but address what the real issues are. So I want to just leave it open to you with what we're seeing in China, the similarities to today, and what do we do about it?
Well, so my biggest fear, honestly, is that if the worst case scenario is if Trump loses and we lose the majority in the House, then I genuinely think they could extend the Supreme Court, and then that's when we're really in trouble, because I don't think they could censor us if they have, we're winning right now in terms of information battle. That's why they're freaking out about the disinformation thing. So if they were to get a majority in the House and add a seat to the Supreme Court and balance it out there, then they could actually censor us. But if we at least keep the House, then I don't think they'll win the censorship battle, because they need to change the law to have any type of impact on that. But China's going to be kind of falling apart soon. The youth unemployment rate's 25% right now, and they have outright deflation. It's a cascading thing. They're a paper tiger.
Yeah, go ahead, Connor.
Look at Harris's whole thing about the grocery store price gouging, as if every grocery store in the country in 2020 just decided to jack up the cost of their
1% profit margins.
Yeah. That's not happening. The reason everything is more expensive is because our inflation is out of control. The Biden-Harris administration has tanked our economy, and people can't afford the basic things they need anymore. And that's directly on her. So for her to try to say, oh, I'm going to fix it as soon as I'm in office, you're in office now. But of course, if your goal is to make it so people can afford that, so you can incentivize everyone having the EBT food stamps, so you can post videos of yourself dancing as you leech off society, then they're doing just fine. But this is exactly the point. They are trying to implement these socialist, soft communist policies under the guise of, just be kind to everybody. Just level the playing field. It's never worked. I don't know how many times we have to talk about the body counts of Russia, China, Cambodia, all these other places. The thing you need to understand about all those places is that they're also really stupid. Pol Pot in Cambodia was a communist and then also a complete idiot. Mao Zedong was less of an idiot,
but a murderer.
But a murderer, and also still pretty stupid. His whole thing with the sparrows?
What was that?
Where He declared there were these 5 animals that were pests that they wanted to exterminate, one of them being sparrows.
Jeez.
So they had people go around, kill every sparrow they could find, and they were throwing rocks at them, knocking them out of trees. They would chase them off by banging pots and pans until the birds couldn't land anywhere and they died of exhaustion and just fell out of the sky. Well, as soon as that was over, they realized that the sparrows were keeping the locusts in control,
Right.
so their entire crop was wiped out and millions of people died because of the famine. So communists are stupid. And the fact that we have a Marxist like Kamala Harris who's about to run for office and could very realistically win is a little bit concerning for all of us who prefer to not starve to death.
And speak.
Yes, 100% it's voting for the president, but it's also, you have to figure out your local elections. and Congress.
1,000%. Brandon's always said that.
Yeah, you have to pay attention because they have more power than you think. We talk more about the president, but they're the ones passing the legislation. And I think Patrick talks a lot about it. And obviously, I work with Bet David Consulting. We need individuals like entrepreneurs who have wealth, who have money, to have influence, because otherwise they're going to demonize grocery store owners that it's their fault that prices are going up, when in reality it's not the business owner. They're reacting to the policies that are put into place. They're just trying to survive and make a living. But we need business owners who have influence. We need people who have influence to speak up. This is not the time to stay silent. Like, if you have something to say, Jordan Peterson said, and if you don't say it, you're a slave. So this is the time. There's no time such as this, but pay attention, be active, be enthusiastic, get your friends, get your family, share what you have to say, vote for the president, but also for everything else around you, in school boards, in Congress, in local elections. Be present. This is the time.